Turns out it was too good to be true. So last week, Navy ships from Italy, Spain, Greece, and later Turkey were sent to escort the global Sumud flotilla on their way to delivering aid to Gaza. And my expectation based on statements by some of these countries was that they would accompany the flotilla and assist them if they needed rescue, but more generally, just by their presence, without even doing anything, deter a direct attack on peaceful human rights activists and make sure that their shipment of aid reached starving Gazans. What the flotilla wants is for this to break the siege and establish a humanitarian corridor, but that is wildly optimistic. Like I said this weekend, Western governments will be more than happy doing the bare minimum and go home. But it turns out I was wrong. They'll be more than happy doing less than the bare minimum and go home. Overnight, all Navy escort ships backed off and turned around, abandoning the flotilla as they enter what is called the danger zone closer to Gaza. So what's happening here? You'll notice that all the organizations that have officially recognized the situation as a genocide are NGOs, human rights expert organizations, UN organizations, scholar associations, etc. Almost no nation state has used the G word, despite the fact that it's getting harder and harder to deny. Even Israeli scholars are starting to concede that it's a genocide. And they're avoiding that word because once they use it under international law, they have a legal obligation to take action to stop it. And as long as they pretend not to see it, their asses are covered, legally speaking, and they can just sit around and do nothing. Because that's what happened in Bosnia and Rwanda. Everyone knew those were genocides while they were happening. There are unclassified memos that shows that behind the scenes they knew, but they pretended not to so that later on they can make a speech saying, if only we had realized earlier we could have done something, but actually not do anything. So before turning around last night, the Italian Navy sent the flotilla a message saying that if they went further, they could cause an international incident that would be an obstacle to the peace process. Which is a little weird. Why would they even bother deploying and going there and escorting them at all if they were going to back off as soon as it got a little serious? Well, the other thing that happened over the weekend is that the Trump administration unveiled their 20-point plan for a Gaza ceasefire. And I might make a video breaking down the plan, so I'm not going to go into detail right now, other than to say that it is less horrible on paper than some of the past plans proposed, but that's not saying much because the bar is literally in hell. But one of the points in the plan is that aid delivery would happen after Hamas agrees to the conditions. So helping this shipment of aid reach Gaza before the deal goes through undermines the plan, and I'm sure all of these countries got a huge amount of pressure from the Trump admin to back off because of that. So now the flotilla are on their own, and there are reports of a large Israeli fleet getting ready to intercept them. So follow for more and let me know in the comments if you want a breakdown of the 20-point plan.